What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Blizzard is already talking about hero number 27. We got some legendary skin info for the Winter Wonderland and an update on the Chinese New Year event. So got a bunch of stuff to talk about. First thing though, if I sound a little bit different, if I sound a little stuffed up, it's because I have been incredibly sick this entire weekend. Coughing, sneezing, I had a fever, all that stuff. So if I sound a little bit different or under the weather, that's what it's from. But the show must go on. So very recently, Jeff Kaplan gave an interview, and that's where a lot of this information is going to come from. It was from some event in Spain. I'm going to put a link to the full thing down below, so you can check that out later if you want. But basically, he talked about a whole bunch of different things in Overwatch, what they're currently doing, what their plans are for the near future, and all of the upcoming events that are going to be happening. So the first thing is the legendary skins for the next event, which is the Winter Wonderland. Now, he said we're going to get 6 new legendaries for that. And we know about 3 of them for certain, 1 of them maybe, so that only leaves 2 left. So the 3 that we know for absolute certain are going to be a Hanzo skin from one of the comics, and it's almost certainly going to be the one with that kind of winter jacket thing that he has. And then Roadhog and Junkrat are also getting a legendary skin. Now, I talked about this in a previous video. They might get a Christmas skin, or it could be kind of like a gag skin, like a summer skin, because the sprays that they got last year were for summer vacation stuff, and that's because when we're celebrating winter, Australia is celebrating summer, so that's kind of, you know, the whole joke. But the 4th skin, which we might get, is the Genji skin that was leaked, and I haven't seen anything about it not being real, so it seemed like it was real in that case. So those are the 4 that we know of, and that would leave 2 more for the Winter Wonderland event. Now, he didn't mention anything about new epic skins, and I don't know if they're just not doing that anymore. For the last couple events, there have been 0 new epic skins added, so maybe they just decided to focus more on doing legendary stuff and just no more epics. I don't know. Now, he also talked very briefly about the event that's going to be coming up after the Winter Wonderland, the first one of next year, which is going to be the Chinese New Year event. Now, last year it was Year of the Rooster. This year it is going to be Year of the Dog. Now, they haven't really talked too much about it, but since last year it was Capture the Flag, and that is already a regular part of the game now, I don't really see them kind of bringing it back for the Chinese New Year. It doesn't really make much sense. I mean, I'm sure it will be there, right? But I think they're probably going to add something new, or just have something different altogether for the special event for the Year of the Dog, because if they just bring back Capture the Flag, it's like, well, we already have that kind of on a year-round basis, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, you know? Anyways, we'll just have to wait and see, because really, other than the name, they haven't given us much. And the last thing that I want to mention is something really big that he talked about, which is hero number 27. Jeff Kaplan said that they have a bunch of characters in development, which is pretty standard. I assume that they're working on multiple characters all the time. They're in different phases of development and that sort of stuff. But he said one in particular is already very far along, and that they're starting to do the animations and other artwork for it. Now, in case you don't know how the development process works for creating the heroes in Overwatch, the artwork and the animation stuff is the final things that they do. Because the first thing they do is they come up with a concept for the character. What do they kind of want it to look like? What do they want it to be able to do? That sort of stuff. And then they start coding into the game the different abilities and different attacks and that sort of thing. And they just use placeholder stuff. So they'll use other characters that have a special skin or something, or an unusually or a rarely used skin or something like that. Kind of like a placeholder. And then they just put all the abilities on that character. And then once they get the abilities and all the other stuff working the way they want, then they start finalizing how the character will look, how the actual animations will function, and all that sort of stuff. So the fact that they're working on the final artwork and the animation means that they're pretty much done with this character. Now, every time there's talk about a new character, the question always comes up, why is Blizzard adding something new when they haven't even balanced what's already in the game. And that's a valid concern. But keep in mind that Overwatch is a lot more similar to a type of Dota or League of Legends than it is to something like a Quake, because the characters are more class-based. And when you have these class-based characters with different abilities and stuff like that, you can have things that will kind of counteract other stuff. And the more stuff that you have in the game, the larger amount of characters you have, the more chances there are that something is going to be an effective counter to this or that. So when you have certain synergies in the game, they can be effective at counteracting other stuff. So even though a particular character by itself may not be the best, it might actually be effective to use it with this other thing in order to counteract what might be perceived as the best character right now. So it's this really big kind of rock, paper, scissors thing. It doesn't quite match up, you know, one-to-one kind of deal, but for the most part, the more characters that they add, the easier it is to actually balance the game, because the less of a chance that any one thing is going to be too strong and that other stuff isn't going to be able to counter it. Now, as far as what kind of character we're going to get, I think it's going to either be tank or maybe defense. Now, I know we haven't gotten any new defense characters since the release of the game, but keep in mind that we have gotten a couple of offense characters, and offense and defense characters are kind of the same. They basically are DPS. That's what their job is, to do damage. And then if you look at the tank and the support categories, there's a lot less of those characters than there are for the offense and the defense combined. So I don't know why Blizzard is really even still kind of breaking them up into offense and defense. Just put them all into like a DPS category or something like that. Or better yet, break up the categories into something that actually makes more sense. But regardless, if they were to say, like, what does the game actually need at this point, I think we have plenty of DPS characters. We just got some really good healing, so I think another good tank would be a pretty good addition. So what do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, all that stuff. The links are down below. Thanks for watching. Remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.
Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.